Michael Shikha Niketan Higher Secondary Government-sponsored co-ed English medium school has taken an excellent initiative of teaching and make our students learn day-to-day lessons through audio and video in our YouTube channel. Teachers of all the subjects are working hard to enhance these online classes in the midst of this pandemic situation. It is a request to all the teachers, students and guardians to click the bell icon and subscribe our channel.
First topic, that is military control. So the entire Delhi Sultanat's military control was completely based on the powers of Sultanate. So however, or the Delhi Sultanate, or however the Sultan used to instruct the military power to be organized the same way military control or military power been organized as per the Sultan's supervision. So military control was one of the most important, and we can also say it was the structure or the complete scenario or the power of the, or we can also say that complete control of entire Delhi Sultanate was based on military system of Delhi Sultanate, and military system of Delhi Sultanate was one of the most famous and one of the most powerful administrative system around the world. I said around the world. Okay. So number 2 is centralized administration. So Delhi Sultanate's administration or ruling authority was completely centralized. Okay, completely centralized. So what is the exact meaning of centralized or centralized administration? Let's come. Administration which develop and grow around the Sultan and his final word is end of the world. How to follow? Have to follow by his employees, initially developed as a centralized power. So what is the meaning of centralized? Here the entire authority have to be dependent on Sultan. Sultan is in the head. Whatever he suggests, whatever he approaches, whatever he says, his employees have to be loyal towards his master and have to obey the rules. Hence, simultaneously, the entire centralized power had grown around the or developed around the Sultan, named to be as centralized power or centralized administration of Delhi Sultanate. So third point, let's consider this first. These are one of the most important people of Delhi Sultanate without proper control of Delhi Sultanate. Amirs. So who were Amirs? Amirs is in Turkish language. Amirs were the nobles. Okay, Amirs were the nobles. Who were nobles? Learned person came to be known as a nobles. Ulemas. Ulemas were also a learned person. Okay. Number 3 is Omras. So group of learned person came to be known as Omras. So this 3 is one of the most important parts of Delhi Sultanate. This part is included in the parts of religious sector of Delhi Sultanate, because these 3 groups of people belong from religious purpose only. Now next point, that is Iqta system. Now Iqta system you will read about more in a very illustration or more explained way in your book, definitely. So that you have to read your book and the parts of Iqta system very normally and very nicely. But before that, the very common meaning of Iqta is a province. What is the meaning of Iqta? Iqta is a province. Province is a land. Okay, province, area, land. So Iqta is an Turkish language, and this Turkish language's common meaning is province, land, kingdom or area. So, and Iqta, this system, the amount of revenue or tax been collected based on the provinces of the Delhi Sultanate came to be known as Iqta system. Now land Mukti and Walis, these are the some nicknames of Ikta system. You can also name the Ikta system as in Muktis, or the Muktis is a revenue, the money, okay, which has been collected by the zamindars, by the provincials, by the employers, and many more stages of employees of Delhi Sultanate, okay, and the collectors of revenue said to be or named to be as the Mukti Walis. Now next part. Now we shall read about economic control. What is the meaning of economic? Finances, financial. We all know that without money or without proper finances, not a single activity should be run. So, to rule the entire vast, more than 300 years dynasty is compiled on two factors. One, military power. As the military power is so strong in Delhi Sultanate that definitely there should be some payment of the military power so that they can employ various kind of elephants, horses, various kinds of weapons and all. So to get all those in a circular way, people or everything should be concentrate on the finances or the financial. So how economic or money or finances been controlled on the Sultanates of Delhi, we shall learn about that. So there are some points I have written over here. Some points I have written over here. These are the one of the heads that how economic been controlled in Delhi Sultanate. First was income of the treasury. So what is the treasury? Treasury is a royal kind of bank which only for the royalness, the king, emperor, and therefore the luxury items. So there should be a proper functioning of treasury. That is, income of the treasury is one of the main factor for the economic control of Delhi Sultanate. Number two is many kings have also donated lands based on religious purpose. Religious purpose. Emperors had donated their lands based on religious purpose. Number three, agricultural revenue rates. So obviously, if farmers or peasants are agriculturing or cultivating on land, they have to give some of the revenue as in cultivated form or as in money or financial form. Agricultural revenue was there. Next is half of the agricultural provided as revenue. It means the amount of cultivated items, half of the cultivated items have to be given to the officials, to the government officials as a form of revenue. Last but not the least is they also have, it means the common people also have to give some amount of explained revenues based on house tax. So during that time, people have to give house tax. Number two, grazing tax. We all know grazing. The farmers graze cattle, right? So the land they graze their cattle, they have to give money for grazing their cattle on that particular land. Hence, that is grazing tax. Number three is one of the most important factor of income of the entire Delhi Sultanate was the jizya tax or jizya tax. So what is jizya tax? Jizya tax was a tax only for the Hindus. It means this tax was belong for non-Muslim community. So those who were not belong from Muslim community or Turkish or Islamic, jizya tax, the religious tax, they have to give jizya to the central government, that is the Delhi Sultanate. Now the last part of administration, and this is very important part, listen to me very carefully, that obviously, if there are so many factors responsible for economic control, military system, then centralized system, then most of the ICTA system, which is a part of land revenue system, there are some more controls and measures should be there, followed by the normal commoners, and which has been introduced, or these are the reforms introduced by the emperors for the benefit of their commoners. Okay, so first reform, these are the reforms, this is a very important part. These are the very important part. Okay, so the first is fixation of price on commodities. What is the meaning of commodities? That there is a thing. You go to shops, you purchase some things, that is commodities. Anything is a commodity. Okay, so there was fixed rate of commodities. Fine. First reform was fixation of price on commodities. Fixation of price on commodities. There was a fixed rate of commodities. Number 2 was organization of huge market. So for the benefit of commoners, so that they should not have any kind of problems, the emperor had made for them a huge marketplace where they get A to Z commodities for purchase. Starting from horses, elephants, animals, domestic animals, food, clothes, and many more. Third was, this particular huge market was covered and organized and looked after by 2 groups. Number 1 was Sahana-e-Mundi and number 2 is Diwane-e-Riyasat. So the first group of community was Sahana-e-Mundi. This is an organization. Okay, Sahana-e-Mundi, and number 2 is Diwane-e-Riyasat. Next part, there was ration system also. Okay, for the common people there were ration system also. Number 5th point was, this is one of the most crucial point, that if somebody do any kind of or do destroy any kind of law and order, whether there were any punishment or not. Yes, there were many harmful and there were many serious punishments were there in the Delhi Sultanate. So punishment to offenders were there. During the rule of Muhammad Khilji or Alauddin Khilji, there were punishment that if somebody stole some amount of commodity, then that particular commodity should be measured in kilograms or grams, and that particular percent of kilograms or grams of flesh been cut from human body part. So this was the punishment, the serious punishment which were equivalent or prevalent in the ruling time of Khilji dynasty. Last is the infrastructure. So definitely there were good infrastructure. The buildings of hospitals. So during that time hospitals were there also. Building of hospitals, mosques, mosques to preach their religious parts, park, dams for water conservation and gardens. So there were this kind of controls over market price and kind of a reforms which has been introduced by the emperor for the benefit of their commoners too. Okay, so the last part of Delhi Sultanate, we have already read about the last part or last dynasty of Delhi Sultanate. So after the demolition of Delhi Sultanate, obviously if there is a rise of something, there is a fall of somewhere, some to it also. In the history of every parts of India, every parts of the world, if we read about history, we are always having the knowledge that if there is some rise of some dynasty and there is a fall of some dynasty due to many reasons. Okay. So apart from that, let's start with the last page number 61. Please follow from your textbook, page number 61. In the parts of remember, you will find various names, various emperors' name, and let's start with the Sultan Shamsuddin Ilyas Shahi. So Ilyas Shahi dynasty was emerged in the parts of ancient Bengal and the parts of mid Bengal only. So Shamsuddin Ilyas Shah was an independent ruler of Bengal. He was not anybody's ruling. Okay, so he was the independent ruler of Bengal. Next was Ghiyasuddin Azam Shah, and third was Jalaluddin Muhammad, and fourth was Alauddin Hussain. So Alauddin in the Shahi dynasty, Alauddin Hussain was one of the greatest ruler of medieval Bengal who have ruled for 26 years. So how many years we are finding? How many years we are finding? We are finding 26 years. So Alauddin Hussain was one of the greatest ruler of medieval Bengal from Shahi dynasty, and he alone ruled over Bengal for 26 years. 26 years, okay? Again, please follow page number 62. For your further information, please follow page number 62. Next, we shall read about rise of Vijayanagar and Bahamani in Deccan. So, Bahamani is a name of a kingdom and Vijayanagar is a name of a place and a kingdom which grow or develop in the parts of Vijayanagar named as Vijayanagar kingdom or Bahamani kingdom, and these two parts follows in the provinces of Deccan. Provinces of Deccan. So in Vijayanagar or Bahamani, you will read about more. Please follow in your textbook, page number 63, 64, 65 and 66 for further information. And apart from this, I'll end the video by saying that Sangama dynasty established in the parts of Vijayanagar kingdom, and Harihara first and Bukka was the founder of Sangama dynasty. This two person, Harihara I and Bukka, said to be as the founder of Sangama dynasty, and Sangama dynasty itself lasted for 150 years, more than 100 years. So Sangama dynasty ruled over Vijayanagar and Bahamani in Deccans more than 150 years, and Sangama dynasty's founder was Harihara first and Bukka, B-U-K-K-A, Bukka. Okay? So with this all ruling and all, we are also seeing that there are the rise of religious Buddhism, Vaishnavism. It is emerging slowly and in the mindset of normal people, and for that you have to read your textbook very carefully. Okay? Signing out. Thank you.
Michael Shikhaniketan Higher Secondary Government Sponsored Co-ed English Medium School has taken an excellent initiative of teaching and make our students learn day-to-day lessons through audio and video in our YouTube channel. Teachers of all the subjects are working hard to enhance these online classes in the midst of this pandemic situation. It is a request to all the teachers, students and guardians to click the bell icon and subscribe our channel.